Hello, this is the first flight in my neighborhood park, Wyman Park. It's in Baltimore City, right about the middle of the city by Johns Hopkins University Homewood campus. Here I am flying over the dog park, which is north of where I took off from. I took off from what I'll call Middle Park, and this is just a little orientation, turning around looking at the dog park. Middle Park is right there on the horizon of the snow you can see behind the trees, and it's to the right of us here. To the left or east is the Hopkins campus and Stony Run. Now I'm going skirting the Middle Park and heading over to what I'll call the baseball park. You can kind of see it in the lower right of the screen there. It's surrounded in part by what I like to call the 10 Sisters oak trees, and here I am coming over the baseball park, and then this is the residential neighborhood. So those are kind of the four little zones. As I come around here, you can see Middle Park right in the middle, and then to the right here, just below me now, is the baseball park. Coming north, and have Hopkins to the right of me. And now I'm going to dive down to the Middle Park, where you'll see me down there below. That's where I am flying from, and diving down, which is always kind of fun. I'll have to say I was a bit nervous of the trees on this flight, or these series of flights. Taking off from the snow, kind of a cool perspective there. I'm going to pop up over these trees over to the dog park, or north of where I am flying, and coming up over the trees carefully here. I don't want to get hung up on a tree. I've only had this drone since December, so it's fairly new to me still. Kind of gradually diving down into the dog park area, and we'll go and explore a tunnel. There you can see in the background that Stony Run flows through. If not on this run, on a future run as part of this video. Oh, here I am getting closer. Yeah, I think I'm going to be coming down close to the ground here and getting low down between the trees. And I'll whip it around here so as not, I'm flying FPV, so it's pretty tight quarters here. I'm just pivoting around using the yaw, and then we'll head back to the dog park field, weaving through some trees here, avoiding branches. Still beautiful having the snow on the ground here. Doesn't seem to blow out the video quality too badly. I'm going to just make my way through here. I'm flying in normal mode as opposed to sport mode. I'm going to come up and over these trees, make sure I clear them. I edit past the dog park. Here I am coming up over trees to the Middle Park. You can see these are pretty tall trees to get up and over. Here I'm just going to fly over Middle Park, I believe, if I recall correctly. Taking a peek down. Flying FPV, it's kind of hard to tell where you are sometimes. On the horizon back behind those trees is the baseball park, so that's where I'm headed to now. And I'll dive down into the baseball park and get another look at that. You can see the 10 Sisters ringing the baseball field here. It's a pretty tight field when you're flying FPV, and still getting used to flying in this area, so I'm being particularly careful, not wanting to get my drone stuck up in a tree. You can see I'm going to have to pop up over these trees to get back to the Middle Park, and don't want to prematurely dive down into it. Here I go, down into Middle Park. You can barely see me down there at the bottom of the screen. Trying to weave around. Now I'm popping over the trees to the dog park again. Here we go. This time I'm just going to stay up high and do a few S-turns if I recall correctly. Or maybe that's later in the flight. Yeah, this time I'm just going to make a big bank turn and head back for a landing in the Middle Park. But if you stick with me, you'll get to see a practical use of the drone coming up here soon as I do a inspection. So, yeah, there we go. There I am down there, coming in for a landing. Well, I think yeah, there we go. Later on, I do a spin around this field, a very tight field. All right, taking off again. This is the third battery, third trip. This time I'm going to go out into the residential area, trying to stay along the street, so if for whatever reason the drone comes down, it's not on somebody's roof. That would be terrible. You know, your drone is up there. What do? Get somebody to get a ladder out? I'm certainly not going to climb up a ladder on one of these roofs myself. Anyhow, heading down 37th Street in Baltimore, and you can see a large parking garage center right there with a huge solar panel on top. And yeah, so right about now I'm going to stop it and take a peek down and do a quick inspection here. You'll see 4 houses right next to each other at the very bottom of the screen. The 2 in the middle have barely no snow on them. The 2 on the ends do have snow, which indicate better insulation for those. And one of those 2 with the snow is my house. So I know that my insulation is doing a good job. Here, back to the baseball field and the 10 Sisters. I'm going to skirt past that and head south. You can see the Baltimore downtown skyline on the horizon, and to the left of that, barely see Baltimore Harbor. Just barely make it out there. I'm going to head back north along Stony Run here with Hopkins Homewood campus to my right. You can see the middle field almost in the middle of the screen there. Middle left, and now I'm going to dive down to a path here and go along a trail, dodging some trees, with the middle field on the left and the dog park in front of me, which is where I'll emerge. If I don't run into a tree, I got pretty darn close to some of those branches. And here we go, managing to avoid getting snagged by a tree and back out into the dog park field, which is north of where I'm flying from. This is where I'm going to take a few S-turns in this field. Still trying to get a good feel for the drone. I haven't flown it much for the past couple of weeks because it's been so snowy out. You can see coming up here is a pretty massive tree that I don't want to get hung up in. It's up on a hill above the park, so you don't make tight enough turn, you can catch yourself in that tree. And this pretty much is going to wrap up my flight. I'm going to bring it back to the middle field here, try to do a few spins around that field. It's very tight, and then bring it in for a hover and a landing. There we go. Checking out this tiny little middle field here. Snow's still, good, 5-6 inches with a hard crust on top. Anyhow, good times. A successful series of flights.